It doesn't happen all at once. You don't wake up and feel like a failure. You just stop growing. Not because you're lazy, but because your life looks fine. Bills paid, phone full, schedule busy, but deep down, you're stuck. Not in your circumstances, but in your rhythm. The same days, the same thoughts, the same version of you over and over again. And that's what no one warns you about. Comfort isn't the opposite of pain. It's the opposite of progress. Because at some point, you stop stretching. You stop challenging yourself. You stop asking what kind of life you're actually building. So let me ask you, when was the last time you did something that made your future self proud? Not busy, not entertained, not productive. Proud. If it's been a while, you're not alone. And you're not broken. You're just ready for something deeper. So stay with me, because in this video, we'll break down in 10 daily habits that quietly change your mindset, your clarity, and your capacity to lead yourself through the lens of timeless Stoic truth. Let's rebuild you one day, one choice, one habit at a time. This isn't about radical change. It's about quiet revolutions, because most people don't need a breakthrough. They need a blueprint, one grounded in daily integrity, not hype, not hustle, not dopamine-chasing tactics, but deep, unshakable clarity. That's what Stoicism offers, not in theory, but in action. So in this video, we'll walk through 10 habits that sharpen your focus, strengthen your choices, and reconnect you to the discipline that modern life keeps trying to dull. Each one small, each one doable, each one capable of changing everything, if done consistently. And if you stay till the end, I'll share the one Stoic phrase that rebuilt my sense of progress when nothing else seemed to work. Let's begin. Some people don't crash, they don't quit, they don't break down, they just slowly forget what growth feels like. They function, they perform, they move forward. But something inside them stops moving with them. That was Leo. 33, disciplined. Well-spoken, respected. He's the kind of guy you look at and think, he's got it together. But what no one sees is how empty his progress feels lately. He checks off goals, meets deadlines, performs on point. But inside, there's a drift. Not a collapse, just a soft, aching sense that he's no longer building anything that excites him. So he tries harder, adds new routines, wakes up earlier, listens to 8 podcasts a week about growth, but still, no shift. Until one day, an old mentor tells him, "You're not stuck, you're just living without inner direction. Improvement isn't action, it's alignment." That one hit, because deep down, Leo didn't need to hustle harder. He needed to come back to himself, back to intentional habits, back to quiet truths, back to daily disciplines that were less loud, but more true, just like Leo. You might not need a life overhaul. You might just need to stop chasing improvement. That looks good, and start living in a way that feels like you again. Habit number 1. The way you wake up matters. You grab your phone, swipe, scroll, absorb everything before your feet even hit the ground. News, opinions, notifications, demands, and in less than 5 minutes, your mind is no longer yours. It belongs to the algorithm, to urgency, to noise, and the day hasn't even begun. This is how most people wake up, but it's not awakening. It's programming, because when you start your day in reaction, you lose your ability to lead it, and slowly you forget that your mornings are not just time, they're direction. The Stoics didn't check their feeds, they checked their minds. When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love. Marcus Aurelius. Here's your shift. Wake up like your clarity depends on it, because it does. Try this. For the first 10 minutes of your day, no phone, no screen, just breathe, stretch, sit with your thoughts, ask, what kind of energy am I choosing to bring into this world today? Because your morning isn't just a routine, it's a rehearsal for the kind of life you're training yourself to live. Don't let the world enter you before you've entered yourself. Habit number 2. You focus more on to do than to be. You start the day by checking your list, tasks, meetings, reminders, emails, and by 10 a.m., you've already measured your worth by what you've accomplished, not by how you've shown up. You move from task to task, productive, yes, but also detached from your presence, detached from your values, detached from the version of you that exists beyond your output. The problem isn't being busy, it's being identified by busyness. The Stoics knew that activity without clarity is just distraction in disguise. It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it. Seneca. Here's your shift. Stop starting your day with a to-do list. Start with a to-be list. Ask, who do I want to be today, even if nothing gets done? Try this. Before opening your calendar, write 3 words: patient, focused, kind, or whatever values resonate. Then move from those, not just toward deadlines, but toward direction. Because what you produce will always be secondary to what you embody. Don't just cross things off, cross over into who you're becoming. Habit number 3. You treat rest like a reward. You only rest when you're exhausted, when the task is done, when everyone's needs are met, when you've earned it. And even then, you feel guilty, because somewhere deep inside, you were taught that rest is a luxury, something soft, something optional. But it's not. Rest is strategy. It's wisdom. It's the fuel behind every sustained breakthrough that doesn't burn you to the ground. The Stoics knew this. If you seek tranquility, do less, or do what's essential, and do it with less distraction. Marcus Aurelius. That's not laziness, that's leadership, over your own rhythm. Here's your shift. Stop earning your rest like it's a paycheck. Start integrating it like it's a responsibility. Try this. Each week, block out time that isn't reactive, not time off after burnout, but time built in for stillness. Name it in your calendar, not free time, but energy reset. Because how you treat rest reveals how much you trust yourself to stay steady without crashing. And the truth? You don't have to burn out to deserve a break. Rest isn't a reward, it's a requirement. Habit number 4. You react faster than you reflect. Someone says something, you reply instantly. Something goes wrong, you spiral immediately. Every ping, post, comment, tone shift becomes a trigger, and your nervous system is on high alert all the time. Not because you're weak, but because somewhere along the way, you confuse speed with strength. You thought being quick meant being smart. Being sharp meant being in control. But the Stoics knew otherwise. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke. Marcus Aurelius. Reaction is survival. Reflection is mastery. Here's your shift. Slow down the space between stimulus and self. Not forever, just for a breath. Try this. The next time something triggers you, don't reply. Pause, breathe, ask. Is this worth my clarity? Is this my energy to carry? Then respond. From center, not from chaos. Because your power isn't how fast you clap back. It's how deeply you can stand still in a world that never stops spinning. Slow isn't weak. Slow is what makes you dangerous, in the right way. Habit number 5. You compare more than you create. You open the app. See their wins, their body, their house, their pace, and without realizing it, you start shrinking your own path to fit someone else's highlight reel. You think, I'm behind. I should be further. Maybe I'm doing it wrong. And slowly, comparison replaces creation. You stop writing, stop building, stop trusting your own voice. Because what's the point if someone out there is already doing it better? But here's the Stoic truth. Be content with what you are and wish not to change, nor dread your last day, nor long for it. The Marcus Aurelius. The goal isn't to outperform, it's to align with your values, your pace, your unique assignment on this planet. Here's your shift. Stop measuring your worth by where they are. Start showing up to your work. Try this. Every time you feel comparison rising, don't scroll. Create, write, draw, speak, build, anything. Because when your energy is in motion, it doesn't have time to spiral into envy, and that's when your mind returns to what it was born to do. Make, not measure. Comparison diminishes, creation expands. Habit number 6. You wait for motivation instead of building momentum. You say you'll start when you feel like it, when the energy comes, when the mood shifts, when inspiration hits. But here's the problem. Motivation isn't a visitor, it's a result. A byproduct of motion, not a prerequisite. And when you keep waiting to feel ready, you build the habit of delay, disguised as alignment. The Stoics never waited for the perfect moment. They acted from principle, not impulse. How long are you going to wait before you demand the best for yourself? Epictetus. Your potential doesn't need a pep talk. It needs a pattern. Here's your shift. Stop asking, do I feel like it today? Start asking, what's my first tiny step, regardless? Try this. Pick one small action you'll do daily. No emotion required. One paragraph, one stretch. One focused breath. Then repeat until the repetition carries you past the noise in your mind. Because you don't build discipline by waiting to feel good. You build it by showing up, even when it's inconvenient. Motivation is a spark. Momentum is the fire. Build the fire. Habit number 7. You don't define enough. You keep pushing. One more goal, one more level, one more milestone, and every time you hit one, you move the finish line. You celebrate for 5 seconds, then go back to grinding. Because somewhere deep inside, you believe fulfillment is found just a little further ahead. So you keep chasing, but the Stoics warned us. Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. Epictetus, the Ache. Problem isn't desire, it's disorganized desire. When you never define enough, you live in constant scarcity, even when you're surrounded by abundance. Here's your shift. Stop outsourcing your satisfaction to an imaginary finish line. Start defining it with clarity. Try this. Ask yourself, if nothing changed from here, what would enough look like today? Write it. Name it, own it. Because without a definition of enough, you'll spend your whole life running a race that never ends. And that's not growth. That's exhaustion dressed as ambition. Clarity isn't quitting, it's choosing to live fully within your values. Habit number 8. You let small slips turn into full collapses. You miss one workout, so you skip the whole week. You eat one bad meal, so the diet's ruined. You lose focus for one afternoon, so the entire day becomes a write-off. Sound familiar? This is the all or nothing trap, where every small mistake becomes an excuse to fall apart completely. And it feels justified, because deep down, you've equated progress with perfection. So if you can't do it right, you might as well stop doing it at all. But the Stoics knew this mindset was the real enemy. Well-being is attained by little and little, and nevertheless is no little thing itself. To Zeno of Citium, you don't fail when you slip. You fail when you decide that slip means starting over. Here's your shift. Stop viewing consistency as flawless execution. Start seeing it as returning quickly after each wobble. Try this. Next time you mess up, pause, say out loud, "This moment doesn't erase my effort, it reveals my next choice." Then recommit. Not tomorrow, not Monday, right now. Because the most powerful version of you isn't the one who never slips. It's the one who never stays down. Perfection breaks, resilience bends and bounces back. Habit number 9, you keep everything. In your head, you carry it all. To-do lists, conversations, deadlines, emotions, dreams. And somehow, you expect your mind to process like a machine, even though it was designed to be present, not overloaded. So instead of clarity, you get mental clutter. Instead of peace, you get pressure. And the worst part? You think this is normal. Because we've glorified mental multitasking, we confuse being organized in our mind with being strong, but the Stoics knew better. If you seek tranquility, do less, or at least less distractedly. Marcus Aurelius. Clarity doesn't come from thinking harder, it comes from thinking cleaner. Here's your shift. Stop using your brain as a storage unit. Start using it as a strategy center. Try this. Each morning or night, do a mind dump. No filter, no grammar, just pour it all onto paper. Tasks, feelings, questions, desires. Get it out, so your mind can rest and your focus can breathe. Because your brain wasn't made to hold everything. It was made to move through one thing at a time. If you want peace of mind, stop carrying your life in your head. Habit number 10. You don't end your days with intention. You collapse into bed, mind racing, phone glowing, no closure, no clarity, no reflection, just shut down. And somehow you expect tomorrow to feel different. But here's the quiet truth. The way you end your day is the way your nervous system learns to begin again. When you don't close loops, your brain stays spinning. When you don't reflect, your effort feels pointless, and over time, you stop feeling like your days mean anything. But the Stoics ended their days with precision. At the end of each day, ask yourself, where did I act out of alignment? What can I do better tomorrow? Epictetus, that's not guilt, that's growth. Here's your shift. Stop treating the end of your day like a crash landing. Start closing it like a conversation with yourself. Try this. Each night, ask 3 questions. What did I do well today? Where did I disconnect from who I want to be? 3. What one thing will I try differently tomorrow? No shame, no judgment, just honesty. Because when your day ends in reflection, your future begins in intention. Don't just collapse. Close with clarity and begin again, on purpose. The person you become is built in the moments you think don't matter. It's not the big breakthroughs that shape you most. It's the small moments when no one's watching, when your habits whisper, "Let's skip today." And you answer, "No, I'm becoming someone different." That's how it happens. Not all at once, but one decision, one breath, one return at a time. The Stoics never asked us to be perfect, only present. So ask yourself, which of these 10 habits are you most ready to rewire? Not someday, but starting tonight? Drop it in the comments. Let your next chapter begin with one small act of intention, because growth doesn't shout, it compounds. And today, you chose to change. Thank you for showing up for your mind, for your clarity, for the you you're still becoming.